How's it going, everyone? My name is Tarek, and on today's stream, we are going to unbox the song that was released last month. Everybody was complimenting me about it. I've been listening back to it multiple times just to see what I can improve in my next mix. Hopefully, obviously, we mixed the song after that together. So when I've released this song, I didn't start my streaming journey yet back then, but straight after when I've done the song after, I've started streaming, and we've done the song after this one together, and all of that is archived on YouTube, so you could go and watch the song that was after this, which is the cover song Holy Order for the game Guilty Gear. That song we orchestrated together, we mixed together, but this one I've done in December, just before I start streaming. And because everybody was complimenting me on it, and especially on the like production and writing and orchestration, more than the mix itself, like the actual, pre-mix process. I thought today what we can do, we can unbox it and just talk through everything in the track from writing, production, sound choices, mixing, all of that stuff. And the way we're gonna do it, I'm gonna go through the tracks one by one, um, and just expand it, show you some stuff that I wrote, show you the plugins I've used, the mixing process, all of that stuff. So we'll go track by track, and we'll run through it from production to, or recording or writing process to like mixing. And if we've done this before the stream ends and we have some time left, we will check out the next song that we're gonna do, and I will talk about that later. 1 second. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do today. Let me just put the scene right here. I think the other camera is frozen. Let me just fix that quickly. Uh, duh, duh, duh. There you go. Done. Fixed. Okay. And also I just want to check something. Fantastic. Okay, so the way we're gonna start this, I'm just gonna play the song so that everybody knows what it is, and then we'll dive in to each track. Right, let's do it. Fantastic. So this is the song, um, or the track, because there's no singing. But this is the track, and as you can see, I think the best way to go through this is just to explain my mixing layout. If you've seen my production for the song we've just released, then you're already aware of this. But just to show you how I normally mix like orchestra and stuff like this. So I normally have, now sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what I'm doing. But I normally have like 5 masters, right? So I've got obviously the Cubase stereo out. Look, so that's the native Cubase master. Then I've got my mix bus, right? So everything goes to the mix bus. Every single thing goes to the mix bus. Now, the 3 masters that I've got here are the ones that are like crucial to the way I mix. So I've got something called a band master, which is everything from guitars, bass, and drums goes to there. Sometimes I put some synths if the synth is acting as an instrument, like let's say there's a synth solo or something, right? So it's acting as part of the band. If the synth is acting as a background to something, then it would not be here, right? I will show you where it would be. But that's the band master. In this case, right, the drums, guitar, and bass are going to the band master. And then you've got the orchestral master. Obviously, from the name, this is everything that has to do with orchestra, right? So I just want to check, where did I send these guys? I'm pretty sure I've sent them to the orchestra. So the definite ones are violin, brass, woodwinds, choir, and percussion. Those goes to the orchestra. But I just want to see, what did I make the decision of this to go to? Interesting. Okay, so this is actually a very interesting decision I've made here. So with the oud, which is the melody at the beginning, it seems like for some reason I've decided that this should go straight to the mix bus. Very interesting. I can't remember why I've decided this. Normally, I would have to choose for this to either go to the band master, orchestral master, or production master. But I've just sent it to the mix bus. I can't remember why, but this is how it ended up. So that's the orchestral master. Now, production involves everything else. So, pads, sound effects, synths, textures, risers, drops, impacts, swells. What else do we have here? Some reverse stuff, some, alarms and things like that, right? All of these go to the production master, and then all 3 go to the mix bus. So why do I do this? The reason why I do this is that so I can make a hierarchy where the band is the protagonist, the main entity of the song. Then you've got the orchestra, which the band ducks, right? So the band is ducking the orchestra, and then you've got the production master, where the band and the orchestra is ducking. Now, in this case, why did I say that I was surprised by not sending the oud group and the Arabic percussions to one of these? Is because nothing's ducking it, so I'm not sure why I've done that, but it sounded really good actually. So yeah, that's what I normally do. 1, 2, 3. These are the main 3 masters. They kind of like duck each other depending on the hierarchy, and then all 3 at the end sums up at the mix bus, and then you've got the stereo out, the master. So the way we can do it, we can either start from the bottom up, or we can start top down. I think maybe top down makes sense. Right, let's see what we've got here. So actually, let's start from the guitars, right? Let's start from the guitars. Now, funny thing is when I've just opened this session, and this is where I've found something really interesting, and I'm not sure if I've actually printed it this way or this is like I've done this after I've printed the last master. We will never know. But what I've discovered is that these DI guitars that I'm using actually in the song, one of them has a virtual mix rack, but the other doesn't. So that's obviously that's unintentional. So I'm not sure what happened there. I'm pretty sure, but this is after I bounced the track. I might have moved these two one layer to the right by mistake, but yeah, it didn't have that much effect. I think. Let me just solo these. Am I using them? No, they're actually down. Okay, so it didn't matter anyway. So they're down anyway. Let me just. Okay, so they're down anyway, so it didn't really matter. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is we'll start with the guitars. So the way the guitars are laid out is that you've got the guitar DIs, which I ended up not using. They go to a guitar DI group. All the rhythm guitars, they go to a rhythm guitar group. And all of the solo guitars and all of the other stuff, they go straight to the guitar master. Now, sometimes I make these go to a guitar solo group or a guitar, lead group, right? But for some reason, I've chucked them immediately to the guitar master. So what goes into the guitar master? Obviously, all the groups, right? So group, and here, there should have been a group, goes to the master. Now the guitar masters goes to the band master, right? So that's the first instrument of the band that goes here, right? So in the song that we've done in January together on the stream, Holy Orders, you've seen that I had a guitar lead, right, group. So again, that's a decision that for some reason I've made for these two guys just to go to the guitar masters, maybe because they're completely different. Like this is a solo in the chorus, but this is more of a breakdown lo-fi thing. So maybe I thought that why putting them into a group where they actually like they're not in the same guitar category, that's a solo and this is more of a breakdown riff. So yeah. Now let's move to the first layer of guitar, which is the rhythm guitars. So let's see what we have here. Then you've got in the chorus. Right, so as you can see, there is a little bit of automation here that makes more sense when they're not soloed, and especially like in more of a filler parts during the chorus. And then the song repeats a little bit, so you've got obviously a breakdown and all of the other stuff that might come differently, but this is kind of like the structure of it. When it comes to automation, as you can see, there's only these parts. You've got this one here. Right. I'm pretty sure I might have tried to automate this as well, but maybe it was too loud. So in the mix, I'm gonna unsolo it, so you'll see that it made sense for this automation. as you can see, when I unsoloed it, now it makes more sense why I didn't bump this up in volume. Otherwise, it would have been too distracting. But it's a nice little kind of articulation there to stay in the background. So if we're gonna go through the plugins that I've used for this, so on each one of the guitars, so these are exactly similar, so I'm gonna open only one of them. So I've got a virtual mix rack, so I've got, this is acting as a preamp. I don't think there's anything that was touched here. I literally just loaded this up just for it to add the distortion. I can see there's something changed. Maybe I've put this to push. I mean, we can find out if we load a similar one. How does it, what would it change? So this is a London preamp. Yes, as I thought. So I've literally only turned the push on, right? For this one. And then next I have a fab filter here acting like a pedal toning thing. And then we've got archetype nolly, and this is the same preset that I kind of used in one song before this one. So you've got the overdrive pedal on, the rest are off. These are the settings for it. I think this is pretty default, except maybe the gain, the low. Like, I'm pretty sure this is very close to default. EQ, I don't think I played with this other than from the previous song. Obviously these settings came from this. So this TOTPU is the track transmissions of the parallel unknown. That's what TOTPU is, which is the track before this one, right? Cab I didn't touch. Maybe actually, no, I don't think so. And then you've got this, obviously, these are rhythm guitars, so I didn't add in any of these. Gate setting, input settings are 0. So that is what's going on with the guitar amp. Now, before I move to the group, I'm gonna show you the other layer of guitar that comes here. And I think this comes only in the chorus. So let's hear this layer, because even I forgot how this sounds. Okay, so obviously it's a different, I can see it's a different amp. So let's go here and see what we've got. Okay, on the virtual mix rack, we've got exactly the same thing. But here I think I've got STL tone. Okay, I've used the Josh Middleton. For some reason, when I looked at this, I don't know, obviously it says now on. So I can, obviously it makes sense that it's Josh Middleton, but I don't know why. I had a hunch that when I'm gonna open this is gonna be either the Andy James or the Will Putney. But it's very interesting. I've used this one, which is really cool because I thought that I haven't used this amp before when I was making the Cubase images here, which I will show you in a second. What do I mean by that? I thought I haven't used this, and I was like, maybe in the next song I need to try this. But here I am. It seems like I've used it here. So both guitars together sound like this. So this is the first guitar. This is the second layer. And this is Nolly. And together. So this is only coming in the chorus, nowhere else, just to add thickness and bigness to the chorus. So that's the. And by the way, when it comes to the preset, I think I've used amp 3 preset. It doesn't have an asterisk here, so I think it's the same. I think maybe the gate or some the gate should be different. What about here? I can't remember how this preset comes, but I'm pretty sure I've either left it as it is or maybe played with the balance, the tone. There are some decisions that I can't remember because this song is not documented. This is why, doing this is cool, because now every song I'm gonna do from now on is gonna be documented, so I can actually go back in time and see what I've done why I've done some decisions. Cool. So that is the second layer of the rhythm guitar. Now the rhythm guitar group, it seems like it has a ton of things, which is normally not my style. But let's see what we've got here. So we've got also obviously a limiter. Normally I use this, when I gain stage at the beginning. And we've got an EQ. So what is this doing? We've got a high end increase here, maybe for byte. I've took a little bit of low mids. And I think that's pretty much it. Nothing else, is just these two. So no shelf, no nothing. Cool. And then we've got virtual mix rack. So this is actually I took the preset Heavy Guitars 2 because it literally has every single plugin that I like on guitar. So I do like this FG401 compressor on guitar with the second mode. This is my favorite EQ on guitar if I want to add a little bit more brightness. So to a point where I'm trying, like I literally try to see what other plugins I can buy from the Neve EQ other than this, just so I can play around with some sounds. But yeah, Neve EQ on guitar, something I really like. Revival to add some high end, and I'm pretty sure I've done this move, like deep during the mix, because that's a little bit drastic for me to do. Like normally I don't do these type of big moves. But yeah, this is interesting because for some reason I'm actually not using this here at all, and I'm using this instead. So again, I haven't documented how I mix this, so I can't remember why I've made this decision. Normally I will immediately go for this first. Trimmer is doing nothing. After that, we have a little bit of EQ, notching, bad frequencies, palm mute, tame, and removing more high frequencies. Specifically, I think this is for the orchestra. And then you've got Trans-X wide. So this is obviously a trick that I've learned from Andrew Wade, and in one of the Nail the Mix sessions. And basically what this does is that on every single chug, before the chug, especially when there's spaces like this, right, it just adds more attack. So I can see it working at the beginning of every phrase. And it's incredibly fast, right? So that's that. And then what do we have? Let me close these. Soothe? Yes. We got Soothe on the default preset. Maybe I was dealing with some harshness that I wanted to kind of tame. So this is the rhythm guitars, right? And just to remind you, in the mix they sound like this. Let's go here. Cool. All right. And in the breakdown they sound like this. Fantastic. What else? Now guitar solo. So this guitar solo plays here. Right, so obviously it repeats 3 times because the chorus is played 3 times. But what we've got on it is a virtual mix rack, also London preamp, which is Abbey Road, obviously. We've got Fab filter pedal. Not sure why I've done this move. That's very strange. And then I've got the Night Crossing solo preset. Night Crossing is one of my favorite songs for Bleed From Within. So I've used that. It doesn't have any additions, seems like, so probably I used it as it is. Even input and output. I don't know what they come with the preset, but since there's no asterisk, I think it's called, it hasn't been changed at all. All right, and then we've got guitar compressor, only on tame mode, bright. I think, and it's only taking like 3 decibels. Okay, 5 dB. That's normally more than what I want. It's probably I really wanted to tame the performance. And then you've got soothe, default preset, 0 depth, and then 1 knob, brighter. This definitely a last, like deep in the mix type of move. And then you've got the guitar breakdown riff, which is this one. And there's something cool about this in production wise, is that obviously here in the rhythm we're playing chugs, right? But on the on this riff that is lo-fied, we're playing the octave and we're sliding down from it. Right? So, and I'm not sure why I didn't automate actually the slide, because it sounds really cool. Yeah, that slide down is really cool. So this has archetype nollie again, and I used the preset radio effect with no change. And that preset, I mean, you can play with it, but that preset comes with no pedal. I think, yeah, I think a little bit of EQing here, change from the default preset. Got some change here, obviously, to achieve the lo-fi. And I think these will help with the lo-fi as well. Here, I think the distance is literally the furthest away. I'm not sure how this would play with it. I mean, we can... Wando Magic, thank you so much for the follow. And my kick counter is off right now, so apologize for this. I've been having trouble with my kick overlays. Twitch and YouTube are working fine. But yeah, thank you for joining. I hope you're enjoying it. Where are you viewing us from? What I'm gonna do, just to see why this distance matter, I'm just gonna go all the way in and then out, just to see what difference does it make. It's just part of the sound. And then after that, so by the way, this is how it sounds together. So this one is has soothe after it. Actually, we've missed the virtual mix rack. Right, so obviously guitar compressor, second setting as I like it. And I think I'm adding here a little bit of high mids, 1.K. Nothing else is happening at all. Minnesota. All right, I think it's pretty early in the day for you, right? I'm down here in the UK. So pretty much there's like 7 hours between us. But how are you doing so far? Then we've got an EQ here, also similar pedal thing to achieve more lo-fi sound, and I probably emphasized more 1.5K than what I've done with the virtual mix rack. And then I've got Soothe, and I've put this down. Depth is 0. So normally with the normal preset, I think this is like this, but then I've put it down because I didn't want the Soothe to really play up in this area, and then it sounded like this. And then all of this is going to the master guitar group, and the master guitar group has nothing on it, not even automation. So that's what's happening with the guitars. Bass. This is how the bass sounds like. 1 second. Let's do this one. So with this one, so this is how it sounds in the mix. Yeah, thank you for joining. What type of music do you do? Do you do any music? Do you listen to any certain genre? What type of genres do you listen to? And by the way, what we're doing here in today's session is just we're unboxing one of the tracks that I've released before I start my streaming journey. So I've released this in December. And we started streaming in January, so the song after that is documented. We've done a lot of streams on it. It's all on YouTube. But this song, I haven't unboxed it or showed it before, and a lot of people said that sound cool, especially writing wise and production wise. So what I wanted to do is just unbox it, talk about the mixing first, so finish all the mixing stuff, and then while I'm doing with the mixing, maybe I'll talk about some writing stuff, why I wrote this, why I chose this sound, why I did this. But just because you just arrived, I'm just gonna play half of the song for you quickly, just so you can see what we're working with. This section repeats. I'm just gonna skip to the build and the breakdown. chorus but just the orchestra. And so on and so forth, right? So this is kind of like the premise of the song. But yeah, going back to what you said, you do bossa nova. I'm actually not familiar with this genre. How does it sound? Does it sound like It sounds from the name a little bit EDM-ish. Is that correct? But yeah, thank you for liking the song. Um, so yeah, I thought because it's got a lot of interesting elements like the orchestration stuff, which I'm gonna go down to, and I'm gonna show you how I managed to kind of mix all of the orchestra, which is a wall of sound by itself, with the band, which is a wall of sound by itself. Normally these two are mixed alone as like separate tracks, like in a gaming track or something you have an orchestral mix, and that's by itself as a track. And obviously in a metal track you've got like a metal mix, and that by itself a track. And obviously it's been a little bit challenging to like mix those two together, and that's why I do these kind of like 5 master outputs where everything's ducking everything, and they're kind of like gluing each other, type of thing, like a puzzle or like a Rubik cube or whatever visualization you want to think about it. But basically, I'm gonna go through the masters here, band master and orchestral master, to show you how they're working together. But Brazilian jazz, oh boom, okay. So first of all has nothing to do with EDM. Second of all, Brazilian jazz sounds cool. Sounds like it probably have unique instruments, right? And unique scales, and that's the Brazilian part, jazz part, technical, so it could be really interesting. What kind of acts, if I want to discover this, what kind of acts do you recommend? What kind of groups or musicians? All right, so bass. So again, this is the tone of the bass. So this bass is made up of three layers, and normally what I like to do with bass tones is I really like to try and blend a lot of sounds together just to get some unique, like a unique sound. Although maybe in the next song that I do, I might just do a traditional, bass amp, like, or just parallax or something, because I'm starting now to want to achieve a warmer low end of the bass and more gritty top end. Like the top end here I like, but the low end I wanna in the future get a warmer one. So what I might do is to blend the top end and the high mids and the high end and all of that stuff, like basically the grit and the distortion of the bass. But then the low end, maybe use something that has more warm bass, or something that there's a certain sound I can't describe that I'm looking for from now on. But in this song, what I've done is you've got the DI, which is I believe this is from the Jin bass. Joao. I don't know how to pronounce the first name. Gilberto is a well-known bossa nova artist. You should check it out. Yeah, 100%, 100%. We'll check them out. Are they more old school or like modern? So the DI, let's see if I have anything on it. DI has actually nothing. And then you've got the Jin bass. So this is the distortion from Jin. Very old school. I see. So probably one of the, genre foundation acts. We'll check it out, 100%. Cheers for sharing, man. I like to listen to new styles of music, especially stuff that has unique instruments, because I like to write stuff like this. Right, like this section. I know that we're gonna get into it, but this, for example, has percussion. Right, it has obviously the oud, and it's got like I think violin synths, and the entire scale is played on a Byzantine scale, is what's it called, I think. When I wrote the song. So yeah, I like to check stuff out like this, because it will give me like new ideas to add unique sounds, and like you need unique instruments to like my metal music. So yeah, cheers for sharing, man. So second layer is gin bass as it is. I don't think I've done anything to it. Again, left it as it is. And then the third layer is parallax, which is the DI here, but applied parallax on top of it. So I can see, for some weird fucking reason, I have parallax and dark glass at the same time. What the fuck? Okay, that's very weird that I've done this. Interesting. Oh, okay, so the cab is off. Okay, so it seems like what I've done is I've used the dark glass as a pedal. Okay, which is okay, and then I've turned the cap off, and then I've used this. I really can't remember why I've done this. Obviously, you know, I've settled on this sound, which I think has too much bass, but together sounds like this. So it seems like after everything goes through the bass group, stuff gets tamed, right? Because of the limiter, right? And then after that, you've got a compressor, and as you can see, I use a lot of JSC products because it's fast mixing, and I already mix very slow, so I need stuff like this, otherwise I'll stay for ages. And I've used max bass here. Hey. Okay. And then I've used C4 to control the track. And then Pro Q. Notching is probably what I've done here, is that I've notched some really annoying frequencies, which I'm gonna turn them on to see what we've done, and then I've added back everything around it because maybe this made it weaker. So actually, I'm interested to see what these frequencies are. So let's solo this. Okay, this whistling frequency, and then we've got the blue one. Like another whistling frequency, yeah? And then let's see what this sounds. So this is the grit, the dirt of the bass. I wanted to increase that. Okay, but then I've tamed it with the dynamic EQ, so that it's, you know, it's consistent and it's not overbearing. And here it's doing some taming as well, but mostly on the sub frequencies. By the way, just as a disclaimer, you know, I do this of trial and error. You know, I'm by no means like a pro mixer or anything. I just like to, you know, obviously write my own music and mix my own music and master my own music, just because I like the entire process. And the more I do it, the more I'll get better at it. And yeah, hopefully it'll get better. Now let's go to the drums very quickly. So I'm gonna play the group, and then we'll take it from there. Right, so everything is going to the drum group except the drum reverb. It's going probably straight. Let's see where it's going. Straight to the band master, I imagine. Reverb. Straight to the mix bus. Okay, so I've literally treated this as a send. Interesting. So this is stuff that I keep experimenting with, like with the sends and reverbs and stuff. Like for example, in the song after this that we've done together, all of my reverb I've sent back, if I remember correctly, to the relevant master. So I've done a bus for all of the orchestra to go to put on a reverb, and then I've sent the send to the orchestra master. That's in the new song. I think in this song what I've done is that I've treated the send as a separate thing to the master going straight to the mix bus. So that's interesting. Actually, let's actually investigate. Yeah, so the reverb that I've used for the orchestra is going straight to the mix bus, which is something interesting because it means that it's not being ducked by the band. I need to think exactly which of the two methods I like the most, because this is what I've used in this song, and in the next, and then in the song after it, which we've seen together, I've used a different thing, right? So I want to see which one of these I like the most. Right now, I think I'm settling with the idea of sending this, the reverb for the orchestra as well to the orchestral master. The reason being is that the entire logic of the band master, orchestral master, and production master is for them to duck each other. And if I put the reverb outside of that straight to the mix bus, then the band master is not ducking the reverb. Now, obviously, you might say, well, because it's ducking the orchestral master, then that by effect is also lowering the amount of reverb being signal being sent to the reverb. But I don't know, I think I would rather make everything go to the relevant master, and then only these three masters going to the mix bus. Now, if I need a fourth master for some reason, that's fine, but you understand the idea. So let's go to the kick and see what I've done here. By the way, if the drums that I've chosen is Metal Machine, and I've layered it with, I think, this is from Progressive Easy X. So I've got Metal Machine Easy X layered with Progressive. So that's from Metal Machine, that's Progressive, and this is together. Okay, and that's what's triggering the kick. And then in terms of mixing, we've got JST clip for gain, staging, and clipping. Then I've got some EQ. Again, typical like kick EQ. If you remove fundamentals and tame the click a little bit, move some sub, and then after that, we've got JST, the drum forge compressor, kick mode, and this is taking about 3 dBs, exactly like my style, on mid compression. Then you've got Saturn to distort it. We've got 4 band going, so this band is being saturated 0%. This band 10%, 0, 0. Is there any gain increase here? No, this is 0. There is no gain increase. I think this click here though, there's a half a dB. Well, sorry, a dB and a half decrease. And then the entire thing is being increased by 5 dBs for some reason. Again, I'm not going to question why I've done that, because that's probably something that I had to do during the during mixing. And then I have R-Base is right here. So without, this is without, this is with, right? So that's the kick. If it feels good, why not? Yeah, 100%. And this is, to be honest with you, what I do, because again, this is all coming from the logic that kind of like I had resolution with myself. It's like, hey, hey man, you're not a pro mixer, so just do what sounds good to you. Obviously, try to learn from like pro mixers and stuff like this, because at the end of the day, you wanna release a decent song, and the entire idea is that I want to release the song as close as possible to what I'm hearing in my head, and whatever lets me achieve that, I do it. Because on Spotify, when you go to Spotify and listen to this, you're not gonna give a shit what how many dBs is Saturn on. You know what I mean? So I've removed all of that nonsense from my head, and I'm trying to just do whatever sounds good. You know what I mean? Absolutely, man. Um, and I hope you do the same with your music, because there's, if you want to follow like a certain tutorial or what's good and what works and what not works, I don't know. There's like too much. And by the way, even pro mixing engineers, they can't, like, they debate. So you have people very pro, amazing sounding records. They debate on stuff. So if these guys are disagreeing on stuff, so how about us, like home musicians and like some people call us home musicians, some people call us bedroom musicians, whatever you want to call, solo musicians, whatever you want to call us. So if the big mixing engineers are debating on some stuff, no, you should use this before that, or you should do this, or you should do that. If they're debating on stuff, there's definitely no room for us to like debate. So I'm not gonna like join the debate. What I would rather do is just like do what sounds good. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I'm going about it. Snare. This is how the snare sounds like. So the snare is also layered. So actually, let's open a Superior Drummer and see what I've layered here for the snare. So you've got obviously easy mix snare, and then you've got, what is this? Progressive as well. 1 second, it will load up. Yeah, progressive. And together, that's how it sounds like. And I think I've muted something. 1 second, let me just go back here. So inside the mixer, I've muted the bottom snare, which sounds like, let's actually solo this and see why did I mute this. It sounds very, very woody. It has like a wood sound. Yeah, that's definitely sounds shit. And that's why I got rid of it. Cool. And now, so what do we have outside then? Outside, let's see. We've got Clipper. We've just opened that. And then we've got an EQ going here. Not a lot of move. I think this is a 30 dB view. Let's go back to like a 12 dB view. Okay, so a little bit, removing some annoying stuff, and the typical dynamic EQ that I do on a fundamental note. And then you've got virtual mix rack. Obviously distressor, which is, I'm very surprised that it's not okay, it's interesting, because normally what I like to do with this is literally to get it down to 12 or 10, but it seems like here sounded good. So interesting. Saturn distorting a lot of this, right? So this literally 37%. Is there a decrease? I think, yeah, it's getting decreased by 1 dB. This band here is 0, and this band is 20% distortion. To be honest with you, if I was gonna, one thing I would change here is probably this. I don't think this needs that much distortion. I think I'll go down to 10 because I can hear the distortion actually. Maybe because it's in solo. Let's actually unsolo. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's good in the mix. And again, normally when I do these type of moves, I do them in the mix. I don't solo it, so. Right, toms. I'm not gonna go through all of them because all of them have the same type of thing. Right, so I'm just gonna choose one. So let's choose this guy, for example. let me just solo the tom group and go to a section that has a lot of toms. So here maybe. Hmm. Okay, so one thing I would have to say is that my tom mix definitely improved after this song. Because if I was mixing now and I've heard these toms, I would not be happy with them. They sound good in the mix, I think. Let's hear them. First of all, I would have automated this down. This, I will definitely have automated down. It's very pokey. I don't know why I haven't automated this. Thank you for the follow. I pooed my panties. You had to make me read this name, didn't you? But yeah, thank you for the follow, and I hope you've been enjoying this so far. Apologies for the delay. I'm pretty sure like whatever activity you do from chat to follow, I will see it in like 3, 4, 5 seconds. But I'm fine with it. Yeah. I mean, should be okay. But how's it going? Where are you watching us from? I'm here down the UK. Just chilling today and just unboxing a song that we've done. Not in December, and I've just unboxing the mix. And I'm gonna unbox also, not unbox, sorry, I'm gonna go through some writing decision and production decision, but I want to do that after I go through the mix. So I'm gonna try to, go over it very quickly. Right, so we are on drums. So toms, as I said, I would have, if I was remixing this, I would have changed some stuff. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I unsolo and I listen in the mix, they do sound very full, but still. Like here, in my monitors, they actually sound satisfying. Yeah, like on my monitors, they actually sound satisfying in the mix, but in solo, I don't know. And maybe because they're going through this drum group, when I solo it, nothing else is going, and they're, being over compressed. Maybe if I'd undo this. Yeah, still, like they're very pokey in solo. They work in the mix though, so that's what matters. But what do I have on them? Let's see. I've got obviously a JSC clip just to kind of gain stage and clip them on the way in. Then I've got EQ. So this EQ is similar to on every single one of them. Like I think if I open this, for example, it should be similar. Okay, it's actually right. So it's same smiley face type of thing. Okay, that's like a popular move in toms, but maybe for each tom I'm removing like certain annoying frequencies. But if you look at them, they're pretty similar. So you've got fundamental, resonant of the fundamental removed, mid removed, then presence, right? He's probably there. Here probably there was some annoying thing going on. I removed it. High pass, low pass, and then the fundamentals probably have like a dynamic EQ type of thing. If it's not dynamic, then it's just a bump. But it's pretty the same over all toms. And then after that, we've got a virtual mix rag going on, distressor and a trimmer, and Saturn. Oh, sorry. I'm opening the. There. Wait. Here is distressor and a trimmer on a tom, and then Saturn. So pretty similar to the snare. To the snare chain actually. Got 5 bands here. Interesting. This one's distorting 21%, 39. They're all the same level. And this one about 70% distortion here. Jesus. And there's gonna be pretty much the same all over them. I'm just gonna show you the tom group as well so we can finish that. So what's happening here is drums comp on the tom group. It's very interesting that I've used this and not the actual drum forge compressor that has a tom setting. So very interesting. Fat mode, and then compressing. I'm pretty sure this is like 3 dB of compression is what's going on here. And then I've put a C4 maybe just to tame some of the boominess. Okay, cool. After that, hi-hats. All right, I'm just gonna show you what I've got here. I've got a limiter to gain stage, and if you're wondering what do I mean by gain, every 2 seconds I say this for gain stage, then that for gain stage. Watch the videos for the streams that we've done after the song for the new song, and you'll see when I start mixing, I gain stage using clippers and limiters. That's how I do it. And this is what I mean every time I say, oh, this plugin's for gain stage, and those type of stuff you will see at the very top always. So after gain staging, you've got an EQ, cutting. This is a hi-hat, so cutting a lot of flows and increasing the highs. These type of moves I might revise in the future. Actually, I might change the way I EQ overheads. I'm learning a new way because I want to increase the attack of the overheads without the brashness, without the harshness. And the new way that I'm discovering right now is to not add a shelf, but in fact to treat this area, which is the fundamental area of the cymbals, as you would treat the fundamental area of a bass or a kick or a tom, where you would actually try to tame it, right? So you try to tame it. So the whole philosophy is that why would you on a kick like this, for example, try to tame the fundamental frequency so it doesn't get overboard, but not do the same thing for the instruments that are on the other side of the spectrum? You should apply the same logic. And this is what I'm gonna try from now on, just because the annoying thing is that cymbals are my favorite part of the drums, right? And especially that when I write cymbal tracks, like I really make sure every single cymbal, like I'll show you. So if we go to the drums here, so all of these cymbals, I make sure they're all used in the song. I love cymbals, and I like to, like, for example, on a section, let's say the chorus. So look how I write, for example. Let's say the chorus. Like, for example, instead of going like on a section like this, I try to use multiple crashes. Like, for example, the downbeat crash is this, and then the middle crash is this. So it'll be like when you start the section, something like this. And sorry, there is a delay in the sound because the song is, very over processing right now, and it's causing some delay. So when I click the snare, it lights up, and then you hear the sound like half a second after. Look, see, there's a delay a little bit. So that's why when I'm clicking these, it's confusing me. But you get the idea. Or for example, in a section like this. Right, so I really like to use all of the cymbals and stuff. At least every single cymbal, at least one time, needs to be hit. So with all of that being said, what's happening is that every time I do my mixes, I end up like doing something like this. And then what I find by the end of the master, so I'll be like at the end of the session, and then I'll find that I can hear the overheads, but I cannot hear the attack. I cannot hear like them shuffling between like one cymbal to another. I cannot hear that performance. And then I've discovered that this might be because everything, is, getting like building up together, you know, between the cymbals, and you cannot tell which one is being, you know, hit, and you cannot tell if two similar cymbals are being hit differently. So you would think it's the same crash being hit, and I think all of that is because you're building a lot of high end there. So maybe what I'm gonna try is doing something like this, right, or like this. This is what I'm gonna try to do from now on, right? But yeah, and hopefully we can do this together and then mixes to come. So make sure you follow and subscribe and do whichever platform you're watching, so you can see what we're gonna do on the next song. So anyway, hi-hats, let's go over it quickly. You've got this EQ, then you've got the Drum Forge comp on the overhead setting. Basically, so I don't have, you know, I don't have to bore you with every single time saying the same thing. Most of the time when I'm mixing an instrument, individual instruments, most of the time I'm aiming for -3 dB, not more. What we've got here, a virtual mix rack, British compressor, and then revival, a little bit of high-end trimmer is doing nothing. We've got as well that we are opening this already. What do we have here? And then you've got Drum Forge, Transient Designer. I'm not sure this is doing anything. I think I've just left this from... Didn't do anything with it and just left it by mistake. So that's hi-hats, rides, probably the same exact thing. Let me just see the EQ curve, because probably same exact thing. But the EQ curve could be a little bit different. So yeah, okay, so there must be a annoying frequency here that I've removed, and here. And this is a dynamic one. Interesting. And a mini shelf. We're on a 30 dB view, so that's not good. Let's go to 12 dB. Okay, this frequency, it seems like I hated the living hell out of it. Just took it off. But it worked. A ride is a symbol that I always have trouble with. So hopefully, you know, we'll see how we can better the results. What section does it have ride? Let's actually hear the ride. I'm interested now. What section has rides? Let's see. Go to the editor. Let's see. Where do we have rides here? Here we have ride. Oh, it's a couple of hits. Okay. It's a couple of hits every now and then. So this is what it is. Ah, it's the type of thing. But, one second. They've got right symbol 1. There should be a right symbol 2. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it's alternating between 1 and 2 is normally what I do. Yeah, so that's the right symbol 2. And this is right symbol 1. And basically, what it does is that... where's the plugin? So what it does here... So you've got these two, the bell and the right. So each one triggers different. So we've got here and here. Right. Anyway, so if we go back to the mixer, let's just minimize this. Fantastic. And we go back to the EQ. You can see, like, I've literally done some massive cuts here in terms of notching. Okay, and then virtual mix rack, exactly the same thing. So yeah, overheads again should be the same thing. I'm moving for, I think this is for the China. Oh no, this is for the kick. Okay, so this could be actually interesting for you to see what I've done here. So let's solo, because this overhead has kick and snare coming to the mic. So let's solo the overheads. Where are you guys? Here. And play. Okay, so as you can see, or as you can hear, there is actually kick and snare here coming. But I wanted to remove some of the kick, and I've used dynamic EQ to do that, so that only when the kick hits, it ducks down, right? And remember, we're on a 6 dB view here, right? So if we're gonna go to 12 dB, so you can kind of like get the same consistency from every single EQ curve we see, This is how kind of like the levels are. Again, these type of stuff I might change in the future, and I might actually what my new strategy in mixing is just to kind of chill with the high passing. I'm not saying I'm not gonna high pass a lot of things. A lot of things needs to high pass to get high pass, but I'm gonna chill a little bit and see what can I get if I leave some stuff a little bit natural. If I like it, good. If I don't like it, then we tried it. Rooms. So this is how the room sounds. Limiter, you don't need this. There's nothing interesting happening here. So I'm removing a little bit of the kick, a little bit of the snare, and a little bit of the junk from the room. Nothing else is happening. Adding a little bit of high end here, and removing some. Yeah, it's a very, very, very simple EQ curve. There's nothing to see here. And I'm using Drum Forge compressor on the room setting. I'm pretty sure by now you realize that I use a lot of Joey Sturgis plugins just again because they're fast. How fast it is to just load this plugin, click the room section, click the room setting. You know that you're gonna do a soft compression, and you compress it until you have -5 or 3, and boom, you're good to go. You don't need to think too much about it. Right, reverb. So this reverb comes with Superior Drummer. So for you guys that don't know what Superior Drummer is or how it works, so basically, obviously, it's a drum player, a drum library player, and it's so excellent to a point. It's ultra professional to a point where you actually get a drum session or a drum mix. And I'm not talking about the sound. I'm talking about like the layout, as if you actually recorded drums with actual mics, because this is how these samples are recorded, obviously, like with actual performances and stuff. And you have like mic selections, but I'm not gonna go over everything that Superior Drummer has in features. But you have a lot of options here. Like this is I think is the best and the most versatile drum library ever, right? And you've got multiple presets, and you can literally as if you've recorded real drums, and you can actually make them entirely raw, with zero processing if you want, or you can get them halfway there. I choose the halfway there, and then I do my own stuff outside, because that's how I think it's the most efficient and raw way to do it. Right, so you even have some stuff that you don't use. As I've said before, we didn't use the snare bottom mic, and we didn't use the room mono mic, but you still have them. And these are the microphones for the extra layers we got from the other libraries. So we've loaded Metal Machine Easy X, and we've used the kick and snare on top of it. We've layered it with the progressive Easy X, right? So these are the drums that you get from. But what I wanted to show you is that when you load some of the libraries of Superior Drummer or Easy Drummer, you get a reverb channel. So this is their own reverb, and this is probably like like analog gear probably, or the actual room or something like this. But this is like a professional drum reverb that you've got. I still use reverb for snare, which I will show you in a minute, but this is the reverb that I use for drums, right? I use the native Superior Drummer reverb. I put some EQ on it to tame it, and then this would be my reverb, and this is how this reverb sounds. And what's the cool thing about having this is that just as if you would have just as if you would made your own send, you can actually control how much of each track is going to that reverb channel, right? So yeah, it's pretty awesome, I think. You can see it here, like a bleed from instruments, right? Kick 1, kick 2, snare, all of that stuff. Cool. So that's the reverb. This is really the drums. You've only have now the group. So group, what do we have at the beginning we got JST drum glue mix sorry, compressor plugin. I have it on the tight setting because of the nature of the song, and especially it has like some parts with double bass like this. Sorry, the chorus. Right, and other parts in the breakdown and things like that. And then after that, we have this is something that I'm wondering why I've done. So after this compressor, I also have drum force compressor, the bus one. I'm not sure why I've done that. Normally I would use one of them, but again, this would. Oh yes, now I know. Of course, I'm using this as parallel compression. Okay, so now I know why I'm using this. So I'm compressing this 100% on hard mode, bus mode, but I'm only adding half a dB because I've probably tried to mix this in, and half a dB was fine, maybe because it got really loud or something. But this is like my parallel compression here. EQ a little bit, add some high end to it and remove some low end, and then I've got soothe on regular setting. So that is the band, and the band is going to the band master. There's nothing on the band master. One thing though, before I move to the orchestra, is that we have a snare reverb, and just to show you what the snare reverb is, Valhalla Room on snare big room preset. Let me solo this for you so you can see how that reverb sounds like. Okay, so that is the snare reverb, and then there's an EQ going on here. You can see there's some dynamic stuff. Is this dynamic? This is dynamic, yeah. There is some dynamic stuff going on here. Just removing some high end and low end so it doesn't build up. Especially that we also have this reverb here going on. So that is band. All going to the band master, and that's it. Now we move to the orchestra. So let's hear the chorus only with the orchestra. All right, so I'm going to solo the orchestral master here. So that is the orchestra, and let's close this here. We don't need it. We don't need this. We don't need this. Should we move to the orchestra or should we move to the Arabic instruments? Actually, let's carry on left to right. Let's move to the Arabic instruments. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a production talk now, more than mixing talk. I'm going to show you the mix, but I'm going to show you I'm going to just talk about the production part here a little bit and some of the writing part, just to kind of like break it up a little bit and just kind of like, talk about some interesting stuff. So this section, let me show you how it is. So that when I'm speaking about it, you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, and then it comes back here. Okay, so how first let's talk writing. How did I write this section? So when it comes to writing, I've actually wrote the initial idea of this entire track because of this slick, right? This melody here. And I wrote this on Guitar Pro at the beginning. And then when I imported it, I knew that it's going to be like oud or like sitar or something like that. Now, the way I wrote this is I knew that this track has been recorded in a 7-string drop A guitar. And the scale that I use is called Byzantine, which is in a very caveman simplistic way. It's to tap the first string 0, 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11. And obviously 12 repeats 0, right? 0, 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11. Okay, that's the scale in a primitive way. So I knew that I'm gonna use the scale, and I think I wrote the track first in drop C, I think, and then I transposed it to, well, before I finalized the writing, I made it in drop A. And this is like before I record guitars, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna just shift this down. I want to use my 7 strings on this just to make it sound a little bit heavier, and use drop A. There was a chance for me to go even lower, but I thought drop A sounded good when I've done the test, so I've chose that. Now the way I wrote this is literally I knew that I wanted to add a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs, because like a lot of Arabic melodies has this, and I used a lot of octave shifts. So here, for example, like this, for example, is similar to one of the other licks, or hammer-on pull-offs, but it's octaved up. So a lot of the stuff here, like I wrote one line, and then I duplicated it, shift some stuff up and down in octave, and then I got this melody. Specifically, if you go here and you see when the melody plays 2 times, it's kind of like the same melody, right? But because the repetition have different octaves going on, and it's not like the repetition is all of it in whole up by an octave. No, the repetition has only few segments up and down an octave. It created like a new line. So listen to half of it, and then when it repeats, see how it's actually the same lick, but it's just the octave is shifting up and down, right? Like, for example, this here, it's the same as, but as the octave is up. So it's kind of like the same thing. I moved stuff around, did it until I got this melody, and I was like, okay, this sounds actually really cool and catchy. So that is writing process. When it comes to the the strings section of this part, we're gonna go to the percussion, don't worry. But when it comes now to the sound choices, what I've done is that I've layered multiple sounds. So as you can see, there is oud from cinematic instruments, and you've got a qanun and an oud from native instruments, I think, and then labs, Spitfire labs, moon guitar. So let's see each one of them, how they sound, and pay attention to the panning here, right? So some of them are panned left, some of them are panned right, some of them center, all of that stuff. So let's start with the center ones. I'm gonna start with the qanun here. Right, so this is the qanun, and it has a lot of reverb already. And now this is the oud, and I think this is doing most of the thick sound. So with this one, I've took the entire performance and shifted it down an octave. Right? And then you've got the labs, which is Spitfire, moon guitar 2 on the right hand side. Right? And then you've got the oud from cinematic instruments on the left hand side. And all together they sound like this. That's the cool thing about layering, is that now you can see why that why, this intro sounds big and it sounds very interesting, like it's, like it's dancing between the left and right, because what happens, the nature of every single instrument I chose here between these four, some of them are louder naturally than the other ones, in some parts, and quieter in some parts, just naturally with no automation. And this is what's creating that kind of like bigness and like stereo image and like dance between them. So I think we achieved a really cool sound here. And then with the Arabic percussion, before I go to the mixing of them, let's just go to the Arabic percussion. So this is how the Arabic percussion sounds like. So this is also from Native Instruments. I forgot what's the library called. Let me get contact so I can just remember. I think it's called uh oh, here it is. Middle East Spotlight Collection. Okay, so that's the one I've used for this. And I wish I can open it for you, because the way I've done this using this, actually, I'm gonna open contact just to kind of like show you exactly how I've set this up, because this could be interesting. So what I've done is, let's go to this one, and then let's go to Middle Eastern percussion. I hope my PC doesn't die. And then you go here, you need to set the tempo, right? And you need to set the where is it? You need to set the feel and the intensity, and you can change how off it is or how tight, robotic it is, and the layout, the the hits, the instruments being hit. Like, there are some stuff that you need to do for it to work. I mean, even if you just took this and put it on Cubase, it will work. And by the way, this is something also very important to mention, is when I've done this, I've literally took the MIDI from one of the patterns and I just put it in Cubase in the MIDI section, and then it came up as like drum parts, and I've just adjusted that to what I wanted using these, and then I came up with this. Right, so in the background sounds like this. Right, so this percussion also plays at the outro. Okay, so that's what's up with the percussion. Now let's just go over the mixing of them, because even I'm interested to see what I've done here. All right, so let's take first the oud kinematic instrument. So this is EQ'd as such, right? Presence, junk, high pass, low pass, and then we've got a virtual mix track. So I've used the same compressor I use for guitars. In fact, I've actually used a preset called Acoustic Guitar 1. I'm not sure if this comes with a preset or not, but as you can see, I've done some changes here. Added some air, maybe changed the frequency. Can't remember what I've done here, but this is what I ended up with. And then next is the Moonlab guitar. I think this is exactly the same thing I'm doing. Pretty much exactly the same. I probably changed the threshold for it to hit minus 3 dB. 1 second, actually, with the EQ on this one, is it the same? Okay, it's similar EQ. We've got some dynamic going on here. For some reason, I think I've only increased the low mids. I didn't add brightness. Probably it's a little bit, it's too bright already. So didn't need it. Now this EQ is for the Qanun, which, just to remind you how it sounds. Alright, so it's very attacky. Obviously all of them are very attacky because, and I know that's the nature of them. A little bit of a low pass, a lot of high pass. And obviously this is 330 dB, so we'll put 6. So if we put on 6, you'll see like there's a drastic increase. Like, not actually, no, 3 dBs are okay, but I'm increasing like a big range, like the entire high end. And I'm doing some interesting stuff here. So dynamic low mid, but wide Q, and then dynamic low mid, very narrow Q. Apparently some frequency was annoying for me. So that's interesting. Actually, let's just see what frequency it is. 1 second. Wait. Let's see. We're gonna solo this. Oh wait, let me solo the Qanun itself. No play here. Okay, it's like ringing. Like ringing. Interesting. I probably heard that on headphones as well. Right, so that is the Qanun. Actually, we didn't go to the virtual mix racks. I only have air here. Now oud, it seems like I have more going on for this guy. So I've added more thickness to this. So this is mid-range, like literally in the middle of the mid-range, almost 800, maybe high mids. You can say this. No, I'm pretty sure this is considered as mid-range. A little bit. I turned this off though. So it's probably this turn off moves probably it's probably something I've done just before mastering or something, or maybe even during mastering, one of the mastering revisions. I was like, something's, you know, this is too pokey or something, so I just removed it. And similar move to what you do on a guitar, especially because I've lowered the octave. So I've put like a dynamic EQ here. Interesting stuff. And then virtual mix rack, just air. I actually imagined a lot of air. Okay. And this is not air, this is earth. So this is thickness. Okay. Adding thickness. 340. Okay, interesting. Saturn. Oh, by the way, what I was gonna say is that I imagined when I click this, I'm gonna see also a red compressor, 401, but I didn't. Okay, so there is more EQ going on here. So you can see there is an increase in the this band here, like almost high end and low and high mid. There's a decrease in the low mid type of thing, and then the sub, there's nothing going on. I don't think there's even a. This is nothing's happening here. This has a lot of drive, 37%. This is 50% and an increase. So yeah, that's what achieved the oud sound, which is this. And I gotta say, it sounds fantastic. I love it. I actually love the sound. And then all of these guys are going to an oud group where we have a limiter, a guitar limiter, right? And it's just doing its thing. It's limiting. So that is the oud. Now percussion. What do I have here? I'm even interested to see what I have here. So I have a JSC drum compressor on fat mode, and it's compressing 3 dBs. I've got Saturn, a lot of thump here, 7 dB increase, and 50% drive. Jesus, I've actually really paid attention to this. Minus 3 dB on the high end. Almost doing nothing, 0.5. Almost doing nothing. This is probably by mistake. But distortion-wise, everything is distorted, so everything is almost 50%. So I probably distorted the entire thing as 50%, and then I moved the knobs. That is the Arabic section. All right, now that we've done this, let's go to the orchestra. So strings. Let's play some strings. So you've got at the beginning, actually, I'm not sure if you've noticed the strings here. Right, so there's strings here, like in the mix, this is how it sounds. 1 second. Right, so that's where it was. And then they don't come until the chorus. Okay, so that's the strings. Everything is processed individually, and I'm pretty sure each one of them have the same thing, but some of them have like different curves. Maybe they start to shift downwards or upwards, depending how you would go. Like if you'd go from violins to cello, they would shift downwards, right? The curve would shift downwards. But anyway, we've got JW limiter keys. I've put it on keys, and literally this is doing nothing. So I think the volume of this was immediately good for it. Then you've got some EQ going on here, which is very interesting to see that I haven't actually boosted like the top end here. I've just did some cuts, and I've probably made the moves here, because one of like the philosophies that I like is to cut using like an EQ, like a Pro Q. But then if I want to add frequencies, I would add something using like an analog gear, just because, you know, it has, first of all, you would add using your ears. I find adding using ears way easier than cutting using ears in my journey right now. Obviously you can still cut using ears, but I think you can achieve better results right now to cut using like Pro Q, obviously like ears and eyes, basically, just to kind of see where you're high passing to. And yeah, I would like to add stuff like with Neve. As you can see, I really like the Neve EQ on everything. Shelf, and that's it. I've took some stuff actually here. As you can see, like I still do some cutting on Neve. I've added some air here, and I'm pretty sure this goes to the entire string section. Yes, very similar move on the entire string section. Yeah, shelf, take down some, what's this? 700, so yeah, about like mid-range stuff. Cello, come here. Same thing. So exactly same thing, just the frequencies are different. But the moves and maybe the you know, the actual range of increase is different. But I think the EQ is the same. So cello has a dynamic EQ going on at the low mids. It's probably because of the nature of the actual instrument. And then we've got contrabass. No, we need the EQ. It's probably doing the same thing. Okay, so even more EQing here just to kind of like control these frequencies. We've got fab filter on the contrabass, distorting a lot of the high end. I probably really wanted, because what's happening here when it comes to the writing of it, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, we've got violin 1 is playing this while violin 2 is doing sustains. Right now, contrabass is playing with violin 1. Right, so it's probably, this is why I wanted to add a lot of the attack, because contrabass normally panned right, naturally, and violin is naturally panned left. So I wanted to get like that stereo image thing, so I've increased a lot of the, I've distorted, I didn't increase, I distorted a lot of the high-end section of the contrabass just to kind of make it more audible. And then everything here is going to a string group, which I believe will only have, oh my god, okay, it has a lot of things. It has way more than expected. Okay, it's got a comp, mix bus compressor. Is there anything going on here? Nothing going on. This EQ, nothing going on here. So probably this is acting as it is. I don't think it might add some stuff by itself or not. I'm not sure, but these two virtually adding nothing. Drive. So all of, like, these two specifically, just their presence might be adding a little bit harmonic, but the most thing that's happening here is this mix bus, which means that not a lot is happening on the string group. Now, before we move to the brass, the writing of this between the strings and the brass and the woodwinds, I wanted the strings to be the wide part, and I wanted the brass to be a little bit more of a lead, because normally in the brass the orchestra, the brass is my favorite, you know, section of the orchestra. As you can see, there is some automation going on here in violin too, specifically on this run here. Alright, so here. This is kind of like what the melody, the trumpet is playing in the melody. So everything here is like supporting the brass. Okay, so this is the type of thing I wrote here, and they're following the guitars a little bit, but then they're moving away from them, following the brass. So they're dancing between the guitars and the brass, really. Talking about brass, let's move here, trumpets. Right? And I think there is a little bit of automation going on, because I've seen this moving. Yes, there is automation going on. Let me just... Right, so I think all of them has automation going on. No, this doesn't. This doesn't. What about here? Doesn't, okay. Right, so the trumpet here is playing the lead of, is leading the entire orchestra. So as you can see, this is how it sounds by itself. And this is how it sounds like with the entire brass. Low brass, I just love, you know, very, very epic. Very, very fucking fantastic. Alright, so this is the trumpet. Let me show you what the horns are playing. trombones. So they're playing more of the chords. Tuba is playing with the contrabass and with the violins. Okay. Then you've got the low brass playing these disgusting swells. Chords. Very disgusting in a good way. All right, so let's go over some mixing. So not to bore you, everything has JW keys limiter. Okay, some of the stuff are pushed for distortion, some not. Let me see if this is pushed. Yeah, this is pushed 100% because I really like the low brass and I want the bite to come out. Tubas are not pushed, right? So that's on everything. Fab filter on everything. Let's go with the highest one, trumpet, and let's see the low brass. Very similar curve, so I assume that everything in between is the same. As you can see, it just shifts downwards a little bit. If you compare these, like this is this, but shifted downwards, right? And then virtual mix rack on the entire brass section should be the same, right? Maybe on the brass, it's not air, it's earth. No, it's actually air. Okay, now the only difference is that these three guys, for some reason, have more. Oh, they have Saturn. Okay, so this is distorted. The entire thing, 36%. This entire thing, also 36%. Okay, you can see where we're going with this one. 80%. I've really distorted the living hell out of the low brass. And then they're all going to brass group, which has the same type of processing. This is doing nothing, so this is doing the most work here, just to glue everything together. So that's brass for you, my friend. And now we've got woodwinds. So woodwinds is doing a lot of the harmonies as well. So this is how the woodwind sounds like. As you can see, there is a lot of harmonies. So they're playing the same line as the trumpet and the violins, but they're harmonizing at some notes. You know, they're drifting apart at some points just to create some harmony. So if you listen to them with the brass, if you just listen to the high stuff, so I'm gonna put the entire orchestra, but only the high stuff. Okay, I'm not gonna play the low stuff. And I'm not gonna play violin one because it's playing staccato. See, the woodwinds are doing some harmonies here. Writing wise, flute, oboes, or I never know how to pronounce this. Right? As you can see, there are some harmonies here. Clarinets, I don't think they're doing anything in the song except here. Okay. What's that? 1 second. Why didn't I increase that? That sounded cool. I actually forgot totally that I wrote this. Okay, interesting. Is this even EQ? It's not, nothing's happening here. The songs I've probably loaded and printed There's nothing happening in them. Absolute zero. I mean, you can just delete this track and nothing will happen. I don't know. I don't even know why when I've printed everything from MIDI to audio, I just didn't delete this. I have zero idea. Sometimes like this. Everything is going to Woodwinds Group, which has the same thing. We get it now. Okay, we move to choir. Choir. So choir is interesting. So we've got obviously the section that a lot of people liked in the song is this. So these are the staccato phrases, and then you've got at the verse, one choir pad here. Okay. All right, so it adds like I don't know why in this section I imagine like the vocalist. I imagine the vocalist will go like this. It's okay, man. Just I cannot every time I listen to the song and this section comes, I just imagine the vocalist standing in the middle of the stage. Although there's no vocalist here, but whoever, I don't know, the character, whatever you want, standing and doing this. But staccato phrases, I just remembered something cool I've done here, which is I think, is that true? Yes, I think I've blended two libraries that are different. So the Voxos, and I think this is what's it called? Magnus, I think it's called. No. What was it called? Well, let me open Contact again. 1 second. Magnus, I'm pretty sure it's called. Omega, not what's it called? Olympus. So this is how the Olympus sounds like. Right, this is how the Voxos sounds like. They sounds very silly by themselves. But as you can see, they're different syllables, but the same. Like they're different, like in terms of syllables, they're different syllables, right? But they have the same vowels, right? That's how I matched them together, and I had to match the timing as well for them to match. And I think after I printed them, I've even tried to match them visually more. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure when I printed them, I remember doing this. I've matched them even more by eye after they became audio waves. So in terms of processing, what we have here is a compressor, sorry, a limiter. I'm surprised that I've used keys, not vocal. I've treated them as synths for some reason. I should have used vocal limiter. There's a little bit of a push going on here, and I think this is on all of them. No, actually on the Voxos there is no push. On the choir, on the sustain one, there is no push. So only the Olympus one. By the way, the sustain, I think they're Olympus as well. EQ, we have. Oh my god, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so I really didn't want to muddy up this area where the kick and the guitar and the bass are playing the same time, the same note with the choir, right? So as you can see, I've treated this quite quite intensively. After that, what did I do? Saturn on everything, 40% distortion. And then we have a multiplier here, Howard Benson's multiplier from JSC. So that's what we've got on the choir. From the Olympus one. For the Voxus one, I've used this EQ. This is a Steven Slate EQ, so it has the same kind of air, you know, EQ type of character. And as you can see, I've done like a lot of moves. I think I just wanted to use this EQ just because, you know, wanted to use a different EQ, and I got probably tricked by the idea that this is it will add like some character, some like airy character, you know, from this like here, right? But I didn't use it. I just used the neutral one. So I neither use you know, like more aggressive distorted one, or you know, or more like tamed one. Didn't use that. So anyway, that's the curve. And then another multiplier here. These are the settings. So it's only 36% applied, but to max. So I've maxed it, but then dialed it down. The range is full. I don't know which one of these I played with, but as you can see, like I've spent some time dialing this. Now we've got the choir pad, which is so I think I've added these just because I wanted it to be more audible in certain ranges, and obviously tamed the build up of the same note, which is A, I think, or A sharp. I should have moved this to A sharp. EQ curve is as such, and then again a multiplier, I think with the same setting, 36. Yeah, so it's exactly, I've shifted everything to that. So that's choir, and they're all glued with. I've actually used the limiter here. Sorry, I've used the vocal limiter. So as you can see, what I was talking about before, that on each one of them, I've used the keys one, but then on the vocal one, on the group one, I've used the vocal one. So interesting. Okay, now percussion. So percussion is the last segment of the orchestra. Okay, so what do we have here? I forgot. So let's see what we have here. So it seems like we've got some stuff in the intro. Okay. What do we have here? Okay, so I've got a drums limiter, and I have it on pumping mode. But I think I've made this loop, and I forgot how I made this loop. How did I make this loop? I think this is, yes, I know what this is. I think this is from Damage. I think I made this in Damage, and I used the internal Damage like flanger or effects to achieve this, and I just printed it. It sounds like Damage to me. Yeah. Interesting. So that's that, and nothing's on it really as it is. And by the way, I just want to check the entire console if I have anything in the strip. So the strip, nothing's activated in the strip here at all. I haven't used the Cubase strip at all in this mix. Okay, so you've got this coming here and at the end, and there's in this section. I'm pretty sure now you can hear it, yeah? Yeah. So it's cool, it's cool. I like that I've done that. And then you've got percussion, the actual orchestra. This is actual orchestra percussion from Audio Imperia. And this is the second half of the chorus. So I'm going to put the chorus from the beginning, and you will see when this comes in how the rhythm, the actual feel of the rhythm changes, because this now goes hand in hand with the, you know, band drum. Okay, so can you see it, or can you hear? It kind of add like dum dum dum, even though everything's playing. One second. Now there's another part where this comes in, is the orchestra by itself. This adds kind of a like a new section. So the way, actually, let me talk about this section, the way I wrote it. So this section, as you can see, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars, right? I think what I've done here is that in every 2 8 bars, something new happens, just to add build up. So the first 2 bars, you've got some of the strings are playing, some of the brass. I don't think any of the woodwinds, and no percussion, just these type of effects here. I think this is a gong after the breakdown. Only strings. Now woodwinds. So can you hear it? Look. And then this. And now. Okay, so this is kind of like the second type way where we use the percussion here. So these are the same, copy pasted, but this is a different type. So now we've got percussion rolls, and I think for this one I've used the Orchestral Essential from Project Sam. So by themselves they sound like this. Right, can't remember if this is Project Sam or Damage 2, but I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see, pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's here or here. I'm pretty sure it's here. It's in this one. One of the keys in this. Okay. And this comes in multiple times actually in the song. So this comes in obviously here, like obviously where this the orchestra by itself transitions into the entire you know, band and everything else, but also within other transitions. So intro transition. Okay, and you've got pre-chorus. Right, and I think during the chorus it plays. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So only like transitional, like big transitional moments. Let's just go over through entire percussion and like in terms of production and writing, and then we'll go through the mixes of them. So I've got now cymbals. Swells, I think, from the, yeah. So this is cymbals. I'm pretty sure some of them are gongs. I think this one, the chorus one, is a gong one. No, it sounds like a cymbal to me. Crash. They're all cymbals, but when I mean by cymbals, I mean crash. I'm pretty sure. I think this one is a gong. I'm pretty sure. No, this is a gong. This is the gong after the breakdowns when this happens. Cool. So this is kinda the swells, and if you want to hear them, by the way, inside the song, this is how they sound like. plays with the drum roll, the percussion roll, sorry, and it plays in like mini transitional moments. And then we've got this, which is, I'm not sure you've heard when I played the song, but you'll be surprised now they're gonna hear it. Be like, I didn't hear this, but it's adding some background effect to the second time the verse repeats. Just listen to it. So yes, you're probably like, what the fuck is this? So this is, as you can see, is from Damage, the first one, not the second Damage, and there is, if you go to this preset, Electro Smack Kit, one of the keys you'll find kind of like a reversal type of effects, and I've made this loop with it, and the way it comes in the mix in the song, it's like this. Now, when I play, you will see that it's probably this section is the same as this section, but here I've added some other effect in the background just to make it sound a little bit different. Okay, so that it plays only 2 times, and this is the entire percussion group. So let's just go over the mixing very quickly. So on this one, the Damage 2 one, there's nothing, as we said. We only have the limiter, the drum limiter here, and then on the actual percussion, I've got some EQ here, adding like more attack, taking down some, you know, muddiness. Or not muddiness, what would you call this frequency? The mid frequency. Some, I don't know, woodiness, boxiness, whatever you want to call. This is where muddiness is. And then high pass, low pass, just to kind of like remove some of the areas that I didn't like. And then you've got a saturator, which is FAF filter Saturn, only driving a lot the attack area, and nothing going on here. Is this even increased? No, 0. What about this? This is a little bit decreased. This is probably a, you know, like deep mixing move that I've done like way down the line. Maybe I wanted to just bring the percussion a little bit back. Maybe I've done that, but that's the percussion. Then you've got the roll. So you've got on the roll an EQ. I've EQ'd a lot of this, and I've added a lot of stuff here, seems like. So these are probably areas that I liked in the roll. And then I've added a compressor. So I've added the toms selection from the drum force, because most of the percussion roll is toms actually. Although they're different type of toms. Distortion a little bit on the attack portion, and then a little bit of distortion on the sub portion. Is there? No, there is no increase or decrease of volume. Yeah, there a little bit, but not a lot. Half a dB. Yeah. Again, seems like because this is half a dB and the other one is half a dB, I've either copied this from here to here, or I've literally done this move way down the line in the mix. Cymbals, the reverse cymbals again. So similar EQ to the actual cymbals of the drums. Very similar. And then you've got also a compressor, no, an exciter actually, which is, I think only this knob is doing something. And I have it on rock kick for some reason. Oh my god. That's how it was. This is how it got released. And then you've got that, effect that I told you, the reversal effect from Damage 1. It has exactly the same curve as the cymbals. Probably I've just adjusted the position of the frequencies and maybe the levels a little bit. And then you've got Saturn here. It seems like I've used this to literally kill a lot of high end and a very very high end. Like this is 8K. Yeah, apparently I think this was getting really harsh in the mix, so I'm interested to see actually how this sounds like. Let me just go to this section. Let me open Saturn. We're just gonna solo this. Ah, okay. So I've literally dropped it down to a point that I cannot even hear it even in solo. So it was minus 42 when we opened this. This is what I got. This is what I removed. This range. I literally killed it. This is one good thing about Saturn is that you can actually like kill an entire range if you want to. I use this sometimes when I wanna like balance the kick, right? Because it's such a brutal EQ that they've got here in Saturn. Other than that, I think I've added more. So obviously this is an 8 dB increase, so this is a lot of increase, but taking into account that I've removed a good chunk of the spectrum here, you know, the actual, you know, on a net level, it's not that big. It's actually, I'm removing more than I'm adding. Here it is coming back again, actually. On the low band, there's nothing going on here except some distortion that is, I think, applied to the entire thing. Yeah, so I've probably marked everything and distorted it, or distorted everything and then EQ'd it. But that's the percussion. And that is, my friends, the entire orchestra master. So now that we've covered the masters, I can do one of two things. Either go quickly over the synths and the production choices here, or what can we do? Or I can go over the masters. But I'm thinking let's just do, what should we do? Let's carry on how we were carrying on. So let's just go to the production portion of it. So let's close everything down that has to do with the orchestra. And now we have production stuff. Okay, so let's see what we've got one by one. Let's go here. We just put my console to where we are. So we are right here. Okay, so let's solo this and see what we've got. And I want to see where it plays. So it plays multiple times here in the song. Only at the beginning. Okay, so let's see what this is. Okay, so this is the intro with the analog effect going on. So obviously, as you can tell, this plays in the intro here. And then it plays again here. But what I'm surprised is that why didn't I copy this to the second time this plays? Very strange. This should have been actually copied to here. No, here. This should have been here as well. So that's interesting that I've actually didn't pay attention. Or maybe that was like a creative choice. I can't remember at this point. But this is the sound, and this is what we're dealing with when it comes to EQ. Ooh, okay, so A lot of surgical stuff. I like when I do this, when it's like I remove a notch, then I expand around it. I don't know, I think this achieves some, because you want some of the surrounding sound, but there's one particular one that you don't want, and I'm only removing it dynamically, right? So I'm not even removing it like, in a, what do you call it, statically. Which is interesting. So that's what's happening here. And then you've got Caged Beast. So these, by the way I name my sounds, especially when it comes to production stuff, I name the preset, but normally I actually name where I got it from. And it's very interesting that I didn't actually put the instrument. I'm pretty sure they're all contact instruments. Ugh, excuse me. They're all contact instruments, but they're probably gravity, I think. I think they use either gravity or something, or voxels or something. I think this is maybe vocalize. I don't know. But Caged Beast, let's hear what we've got here. I think this is in the breakdown. So I wanted to add like an alarm noise, and I remember actually clicking through a lot of sounds. Some of them sounded too present, some of them sounded too background with reverby, and I think I settled on this because it has the right amount of like reverb, and it's in the back, but it's not too much in the back that it's just like a reverb sound, and it's not too, sharp transienty, or it's not too bright. That this is exactly what I wanted, really. And I like this reversal effect here. That's cool. I could have maybe automated this a little bit. It's really cool. I really like the reversal effect. Maybe I could have automated it or something. I don't know. But that's what we were dealing with. EQ, just one band of high pass filter. And then I've added a limiter with no push, just gain staging, really. And then you've got from reverse, and this is actually something cool. So let me just show you which library this is. This is Rev, which is for reversal. So this is kind of like a library that gives you a lot of sounds that are reversed, right? So you've got loops, risers, instruments, so you can play like even some playable stuff, but everything is reversed. So it's a library just for reverse stuff, and I've used that, and I will show you. Actually, I'm gonna play it for you, and you're gonna guess where this is playing. If you did, good. If you didn't, then it's here. Alright, so it's playing with what? It's playing with the Arabic instrument, the oud. Right, so together they sound like this. Right, I think that's a very cool sound. Right, and I hope only happens this one time here. Is there anything on it? Not really. We can move straight to the one after it. Mosaic pads. So this is actually the name of the library. This is the name of the preset. So obviously, most of the time I actually modify the preset, but this is at least what preset it came from, just in case I want to use it in the future. So this is what this sounds like. So this is a pad. And it's played 2 times in the song. So this is where it's played. I think this is played with the chorus. Sorry, with the choir. Very fantastic. I think it's a good choice to play this with the choir. Really, really good. I like that. Limiter with 100% push. And we've got some EQ, you know, taming some frequencies. And dynamically taming some frequencies. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay, now next, Frozo. This is also the name of the library, Frozo, and this is the name of the preset. This is being played here. I think this is a breakdown thing. Let's see what this sounds like. So this is in the build-up of the breakdown. Right? So what do we have on it? Only probably limiter with 50% push. That's what we have. Next. So let's solder this. So this is also Frozo. And this is the contra trombone. By the way, if you want to see how the library is, this is a heaviosity library. Right here, right? So we've got Frozo and Frozo Essentials, and this is basically kind of like a brass effect type of thing. And where is this played in the song? Right here. I really love this choice of sound, and the timing of it is literally like a swell. So this is acting. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting effect, this one for me, because it's acting like a swell and a riser, which normally I will have here in this portion, but it's tonal and it's brassy. I love it. I love this choice actually. And it's only got a limiter, but it's 100% pushed with the distortion within the limiter or the character harmonics, whatever you want. This is Ascend, so this is the library name, and this is the preset. So this is how this sounds like. This is kind of like a piano library. So in choruses, and I'll tell you what I like to do. Let me just show you. It's a heaviosity one as well. So it's this one, right? So in choruses, a lot of the time, what I like to do is I like to add piano or anything that is plucky, or you know, a harpsichord, piano, or anything that has like kind of like, you know, short attack type of thing. Just to kind of add more attack on every single chord of the chorus. So this is, when I'm gonna play this now in context, you're not gonna be able to hear a lot of it. But this is how it sounds like. It's actually there, and it's actually quite loud, but all what you can hear of it is literally the initial attack, and it's a very tuned attack, right? So the thing was like with the guitars and other stuff is that some of them are like intonation, stuff like that, problems. This one is very tuned. So I really like to add this in big sections of songs where there's a wall of sound. This sound is hidden, but it's the attack is there. Right, so this is what this is. What we've got on it is a limiter with zero push and an EQ with such a curve. So if I solo this, you'll see it's acting. And this, why I add it a lot, I add it a lot in places where the guitar is playing exactly the same thing as whatever sound I'm dealing with, just so to prevent build-ups, right? Especially around the root note, which is A in this song. So that is Ascend, and it's played 3 times because there's 3 choruses. Now we've got a Gravity 2, Dark Dusk High. So this is probably, yes, I knew it. So I think there's a Dark Dust patch in Gravity 2, and there's a high section and low section, and I composed them separately. So this is breakdown ambience type of thing, right? And this is how it sounds in the mix. Right, what does it have? EQ. That's a weird place to add a bell. And you've got a dynamic one here. By the way, don't be afraid to add dynamic upwards, like kind of an expander type of thing. I think I've added something similar in the last song, but I cannot remember where. If you watch the videos, you'll see it. Let me know. And bus glue keys is what I've added here on hot mode, saturation, tamed. I just compressed it probably 3 dBs as I usually do. Oh no, sorry, I've selected, what an idiot. Wait, I've opened the one next to it. That should be the same. So this actually doesn't have the one we were listening to, which is this one. That's why I should use the console, because it's more accurate. I'm using limiter here, not bus glue. And when it comes to the EQ, this is the EQ. Now, when it comes to the second Dark Dust, which is a low one, this is what it sounds like. Interesting, very interesting. I would have loved for this to be actually louder, because it sounds really cool. See, what I would have done here, if I'm mixing this song now, is I would have added automation. So I would have kept this level, whatever level we're on right now. I would have kept it as, you know, that's the standard level. But on every single like 4 bars or repetition, I'll just increase it like 3-4 dBs and just bring it down immediately, just so that the listener can hear it, knows it exists, but then it goes back down to a proper level. That's what I would have done here. But that's what's going on with this one. Now we've got Novo strings. See where this is played. Played here. Okay. Interesting. Really cool, actually, when it's played together. And here it's played with another synth, which is we're gonna come to that in a minute. But what do we have on this one? Sorry, was that no Nova strings? We have EQ. Ooh. Something really annoyed me here, right? But this is how I've EQ'd this one. And what do I have here? I have a limiter with 100% push. So it's interesting why I didn't add this before it. Because what I think is that if it was giving me this this much problem. If I added the limiter and then EQ'd it, I think it would have been better, but it is what it is. Right, so Mosaic Neon is the one next, which is this one. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite things that I've done for the track. So as you can see, this is playing with the guitar riff. I really like this, and every time I listen to the track, my ear goes to this synth when I'm listening back to the track at any time. I love this, how it's playing with the guitar, but not every note, just the kind of like the low strings notes, and it's adding kind of a Egyptian pharaoh type of thing. It has some bit crushed layers of sound in it. I remember how actually the patch looks like if you open Mosaic Neon. Why didn't I write the name of the preset? Silly me, literally. I should have added the name of the preset here, because this is a preset that I might use again, actually. Anyway, what do we have here? Push, 49% on the limiter. Then we have an EQ. Nothing a lot going on here. Maybe some annoying frequency that I've removed or some build-up. We have black hole on the actual thing that's not being sent to one. And we have another EQ after. Maybe black hole just introduced some frequencies we didn't like. So that is what's going on with this. This is literally like, I really like this synth, and literally one of the highlights of the song, of the in the production master, is this synth. I love it. This, and guess what? And the Frozo trombones. I loved those two. When I wrote them, I was like, yes, this is exactly the sound I want. Right now, Anna from Slate Digital is doing only one sound here. And this is funny because what I've done with this one is I've literally put a note from the beginning to the end of the song of this note, and I've printed it, and then I kept skimming for which section I want to use here. So basically, I knew that I'm gonna use only this section. That's the point. But I wanted to have the entire effect of you know, that Anna was doing on that sound, and I just, you know, kept. Basically, what I've done is I cut the audio, the entire audio file. So let me show you. Actually, I can show you. So if I expanded this here, right, you'll see. Right, if I expanded this here, you'll see. So that's the entire sound. So I've cut the sound to this section because I know what it is. And then on Cubase, if you click Alt Control, you can move the waveform within the cut, right? And this is oh Jesus. Okay. This is kind of what I've done. Yeah. This is how it sounds in the mix. Oh, fantastic. Now, do we have any processes on this? So this is going to black hole, and that's it. I don't think this has anything else other than a 25% push, 24% on the limiter. And then the last synth I think we've got here is Omnisphere. Which is this sound here. And writing wise, I've wrote this to kind of like, I really like most of my songs, when it's not a cover, I add you know, like a tremolo arpeggiation type of sound like this. Most of, like, if you go and listen to every single one of my songs, it has this type of sound. And I've added it here, I've paused it here, and I've added it when the choir comes in. Right, and also it's playing in the chorus actually with the main melody. All right, let's see what we've got here, because I remember I actually had to fix this a lot. So we've distorted it to the max using the limiter, and then I've removed a lot of the attack here and high passed a lot of this, and then I think it's going straight to black hole. Now, if I remember correctly, I think with this one, it annoyed me at the beginning when I was mixing. I think this is the second time I EQ it, because I'm pretty sure I remember when I EQ'd this at the beginning, it was full of notches and like mountains and valleys and whatever you want. And I think I've deleted that EQ because it gave, like, just looking at it gave me a headache. So I've started over again. Then I settled on this simple curve, and then it worked. Now the final thing in the synth, and I don't know why this is registered as synth. This should have gone to the orchestra, depending on how I'm using it. So I send this to the masses depending how I use stuff. So the organs are going to the production masses probably because of the way I've used organs here. Like in the song that we've done last month, we've seen obviously the organs went to what? They went to the orchestra. But here they're going to the production because probably I've used it in a synthy way. No, actually, you know what? I should have actually put this with the orchestra. Regardless, this is how it sounds in the mix. And the cool thing about this is playing with a solo. So if I compact everything, so this is the solo and the organs at the same time. Right, and I think it's giving the solo a depth. This is something I really like to do with guitars, just to, especially with parts like this, to layer them with like other instruments that have very nice harmonics, you know what I mean, like an organ. Especially if you send an organ to a reverb, it can sound amazing. Right. What's happening on the organ? We've got a limiter doing no distortion, and then we've got an EQ. Interesting curve, very, very simple stuff, you know, just literally notching bad frequencies, adding frequencies. I think it's good. I think I've notched this down so that it gives more room to the guitars. And this is obviously to not over muddy the guitars as well. Okay, and this is the entirety of the song minus this section here and the masters. So because I have to go, you know, I've been streaming for 3 hours, I think. How long have you been streaming for? Almost 3 hours. 2 hours and a little bit, so almost 3 hours. But I have to go because it's 11 here and I've got some stuff to do. And tomorrow I've got to wake up early, driving to London. But our usual time on Sunday is the same. So what we'll do on Sunday is we'll carry on the unboxing of this, and then we'll probably work on the new song, you know. Maybe we'll record it, we'll we'll start, writing. Maybe we'll work on the drums, humanize the drums. There is a new way that I want to try when it comes to like drum programming. Obviously, the writing of the drum is already done for the new song, but the velocity structure is not done. So I was thinking of a new way actually, and I'm not sure how great it would be, but I think it's a very logical and methodical way to select the right velocities for the right, for each sample library of drums. So we're gonna do that next time, and yeah, we'll carry on with this. So stay tuned. It's Sunday, 6 p.m. UK time. And what we'll do is we'll carry on the track, which is what we've got left, is a little bit of the production, and then we've got the master stuff, right? So we've got some of the master. I think all of this could be done in 10 minutes. And then we'll jump to the next track and we'll see what we can do from that. But other than that, this has been a great session. Oh, by the way, YouTube wise, I'm gonna think about it because I wanted to cover this track the entire session. But what I'm gonna do is I might, on next stream, I might cut it together and I'll think about it. Maybe I'll add it in one playlist or something, part 1, part 2. I'll cut next stream up. I don't know, I will see. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'll worry about that on Sunday. I'll see how I'm gonna structure this unboxing. But if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, please check the link down below to go to part 2 of this, where I cover the mastering and how I've mastered this, and how I've used some EQ match things to actually achieve a better result and all of that stuff. So we'll cover that. But other than that, have a good weekend. I really loved this session. Can't wait to work on the new song. And see you on Sunday. From now till then, in 2 days' time. Take care. Remember, it's 6 p.m. UK time. And I will see you then. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.